யாதும் ஊரே யாவரும் கேடீர்.
செம்மொழி வலையொலி யூடியூப் சேனல். இந்த சேனலின் மூலமாக, அந்த வலையொலியின் மூலமாக பல்வேறு தகவல்களை தினந்தோறும் நாங்கள் வழங்கி கொண்டிருக்கக்கூடிய அந்த நிலையில் சிலப்பதிகாரம் என்ற தலைப்பில் ஒவ்வொரு பகுதியாக வழங்கக்கூடிய அந்த தொகுப்பை முழுமையாக கண்டு பார்க்கலாம்.
The ancient Tamil's vision of life is reflected in a poem addressed to the god of death. The anonymous poet has the audacity to tell death himself that the king whose life was foolishly taken away was one who was well aware of the transitoriness of life. That is, the king was aware of the transitoriness of life, and he had no need to be taught about it by anyone. This is the poem. காரெதிர் உருமின் உரறி கல்லன ஆருயிர்க்கு அலமரும் ஆரா கூற்றம். Kutram, that is the reference to the god of death. ஆரா கூற்றம் நின் வரவு அஞ்சலன் மாதோ நன் பல கேள்வி முற்றிய வேள்வி அந்தனர்க்கு அருங்கலம் நீரோடு சிதறி பெருந்தகைத்தாயின் நன்று பலர்க்கு ஈத்து தெருள் நடை மாகளிரோடு தன் அருள் பாடுனர்க்கு நன்கு அருளியும் உருள்நடை பகுரேர் ஒன்றார்க்கொன்று தன் தாழ் சேருனர்க்கு இனிது ஈத்தும் புரிமாலையர் பாடினிக்கு புலந்தாமரை பூம் பாணரோடு கலந்தளையி நீள் இருக்கையால் பொறையொடு மலிந்த கற்பின் மான் நோக்கின் வில்லன விளங்கிய புருவத்து வல்லன நல்கின் நா அஞ்சும் முள்ளையிற்று மகளிர் அல்குல் தாங்கா அசை மெல்லன கலங்கலத் தேரல் புலங்கலத்து ஏந்தி அமிழ்தன மடுப்ப மாந்தி இகழ்விலன் நில்லா உலகத்து நிலையாமை நீ சொல்ல வேண்டா தோன்றல் முந்து அறிந்த முழுதுணர் கேள்வியன் ஆகலின் விரகினானே. That is, the poet says, death, addressing death, he says, looking for lives and roaring loudly as monsoon thunder, you keep moving around all the time. You can never be appeased. That man of magnanimity, that is, that king, had no fear of your arrival at all. He gave more generously than a mother to many men. He gave numerous turkeys and horses to those who praised his generosity. He gave rolling chariots to those who sought shelter at his feet. He held his lengthy audience in the company of bards and singing women. His women used to carry filtered and mixed toddy in gold vessels and pour it out for people to drink. He never forgot that this world is mutable. You do not have to tell him that this world does not endure. He had studied all about it. He had already known all that. He had therefore established his fame. Though the entire speech is about the king's greatness, what is stressed in the poem is an acceptance of life with all its miseries, including death. The king, though living in luxury, did nothing shameful. In the midst of several pleasures of life, he never forgot that life is woefully short, nor did he forego the joys of life on that account. He gave just for the pleasure of giving and not with an eye on the other world. He had no fear of death because he was certain about its overtaking him sooner or later. Though Shakespeare's convictions regarding fate and afterlife may be hard to pinpoint, he unambiguously emphasizes the universally approved values of life. For instance, the virtue of showering mercy and kindness to fellow human beings is strongly recommended by Shakespeare wherever possible, but beautifully described in The Merchant of Venice thus. That is the values of life. The quality of mercy is not strained. It drops as the gentle rain from heaven upon the place below. It is twice blessed. It blesses him that gives and him that takes, that is mercy. It is mightiest in the mightiest. It becomes the king better than his crown. Mercy is superior to the power of the scepter. It is enthroned in the heart of kings. It is an attribute to God himself. When mercy seasons justice, kingly power resembles God's. If God is just but not merciful, none of the human beings can dream of salvation. We pray for mercy where God's judgment is concerned, and this should teach us to render the deeds of mercy. Just as Shakespeare draws his images from nature as well as from day-to-day activities, Sangam poets living in close proximity with nature could do this effortlessly. Natural phenomena provided plenty of common comparisons: water for compassion, fire for destructive force, the sky for vastness, the mountain for grit and determination, and the rain for generosity. In order to emphasize the value of mercy, compassion, and generosity, the rain becomes a significant image in numerous Sangam poems, but the authors of these poems, being consummate artists, can ring all kinds of exquisite changes on it. One of the commentators of Tolkappiyam, Perasiriyar, says this is a simile that denotes usefulness, that is, rain is a simile that denotes usefulness. Why, he asks. What is produced by the rain is comparable to what is given out of one's generosity. Many of the Sangam poets advise the kings and chieftains to be as generous as the rain and to temper justice with mercy. It is Valluvar who states that compassion is the best of the ornaments, kannottam. Compassion is the best of the ornaments that a king can wear, and that what is demanded from him is justice seasoned with mercy. Karumam sidayada kannottam. That is what is expected of a king, according to Valluvar. In a poem glorifying Kumanan, the poet says, Kanavar Karigunam Mayakiya Ahankan Kollai Aivanam Vitti Mayurak Kavini Eenal Sella Yenarku Ilumana Karvi Vanam Talai Yangum Ethan Inpuhal Yeti. That is, the poet says, your generosity, that is the king's generosity, your generosity is like a cloud rushing with lightning and roaring thunder as it sheds its rain down on millet thinai after it has been planted among wild rice on a spacious land new to cultivation but burnt over by men of the forest and changed into a field. It is Vellaikudi Naganar who advises a Chola king to be compassionate like the rain and to rule the kingdom, tempering justice with mercy. He says, when people pray for justice as if virtue itself were the judge, you, that is the king, humble and accessible, are like the rain that pours where a drizzle is begged for. Your broad canopy that rivals the sky, dazzles the eyes, and looks like a thick cloud in the midst of the vaulted heavens, is not there to block the sun, but to protect the grieving poor. The victory gained on the broad battlefield, where groups of tuskers, elephants, fight and lie scattered like pieces of the hollowed palmyra tree, when your warriors resist the onrushing army and laugh at the retreating backs, is due to the yield from the fields furrowed by the plowshare of your farmers. The world will blame kings if rains cease or the harvest declines or some harm is done by forces other than nature. And the poet continues, if you have realized it well and ignoring those that spread baseless slanders, if you alleviate the poverty of farmers that care for the ploughing oxen and save the citizens from hunger, even foes will hail your feet. This is the advice given to the king. Care for the farmers, he says. The meaninglessness of life and death as its inevitable end are stressed by Shakespeare in several ways in different contexts. Macbeth, driven by ambition, achieves his aims paying a heavy price and pathetically reacts to the death of his wife. Macbeth says, when his wife is dead and all your yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death, out, out, brief candle, life is but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. He says, death is a tale, that is, even life is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. If life is a ridiculous tale to the cruel-hearted murderer, that is Macbeth, the world is a stage and all men and women are players to the melancholic Jaques, a character in As You Like It. He says about the world, picturing it as a stage, and one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 ages, as first the infant mewling and puking, 7 ages of man, that is 7 stages of life. This is how he describes it. As first the infant, the child, mewling and puking in the nurse's arms, and then the whining schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like snail, unwilling to school, the boy going to school. And then the lover, sighing like a furnace with a woeful ballad made to his mistress's eyebrow. Then the soldier, full of strange oaths and bearded like the pard, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubbled reputation even in the cannon's mouth, that is, risking even death. And then the justice, in fair round belly, with good capon lined with eyes, severe and beard of formal cut, and so he plays his part. The 6th age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon, with the spectacles on nose and pouch on one side. His youthful horse, well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank and his big manly voice, turning again toward childish trouble, pipes and whistles in his sound. And then last scene of all, that is the 7th age, old age, that ends this strange eventful history, is a second childishness. Old age is second childishness and mere oblivion, sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything. That is old age, without teeth, without eyes, without taste and without everything. This metaphor of life as a drama is continued in the last play of Shakespeare in a speech delivered by Prospero, the hero of that play, who is commonly supposed to be Shakespeare's mouthpiece. And this Prospero says about life on earth, "Our revels now are ended. These our actors, as I foretold you, were all spirits and are melted into air, into thin air. And like the baseless fabric of this vision, the cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, the great globe itself, yea, all which it inherit shall dissolve." Finally, everything will disappear. And like this insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a rag behind. We are such stuff as the dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep. Finally, death comes. Mangudi Marudanar urges a Pandya king to follow the path of virtue, realizing that life is short. He doesn't say that one should renounce life since it is temporary, but that the way to conquer this transitoriness is to attain fame by helping others. What he observes here is repeated in his long poem Madurai Kanji, which, praying for the king's long life, instructs him to keep in mind that only virtue is long lasting in this ephemeral world, and that his first aim should be to make the world happy by sticking to the path of virtue. This is the world view, the Weltanschauung, the German word, the Weltanschauung, the world view that is cherished and projected by the Sangam poets in their writings, whose appeal is as fresh and certain as it was 2000 years ago. If for a bright picture of life and a cheerful view of it, we have to go to Shakespeare's early and middle comedies such as A Midsummer Night's Dream, As You Like It, and Twelfth Night, for a gloomy presentation of the human condition, to the tragedies led by King Lear, Hamlet, Othello, and Macbeth. The last plays like The Tempest and The Winter's Tale give us the message that readiness is all. That is, we should be prepared for everything in life, including death. The Sangam poems, despite the fact that they are by diverse hands, reject facile optimism and strongly recommend an acceptance of life with its bouquets and brickbats, and a bold confrontation with the hard realities and the challenges posed by an unknown force, whatever its nature might be. Thank you.